Oh, that is so cool when it happens to me.
These little breakout rooms is cool. I like these.
I know, isn't it cool when that happens?
You just get whipped
Hey,
into another room.
y'all.
You're like, well, how did I get here?
Hi, Miss Deborah. Hi,
Hi.
hello.
I'm attempting a Facebook screen share. I don't think I'm being successful.
Well,
About
I'm
to,
glad you're successful.
I'm trying here. I'm trying.
Um, but unless you guys have any questions beforehand, we can go and get started. Mike, am I facilitating? You're going to save me, and Heaven, you're taking notes. Is that all right?
So I had one question that I just put into the chat.
Yes, ma'am.
That probably you might know better than the young lady that was presenting. But is it now the goal to erect the entire greenhouse on the MLK site?
Yes, ma'am.
Okay, so they're no longer splitting it up with partners.
No, ma'am.
Okay. All
Yep.
right.
Yep. So we thought we could like deconstruct it and reconstruct it into several smaller greenhouses if in the beginning if it didn't work for us to do the larger thing. And then we had some challenges when we were reaching out to partners, and I think it all landed in makes sense to do the bigger thing anyway, unless you all tell us something different here tonight. So that can be a part of the conversation as well. But I think the first question we just have is just broadly what you're most excited about with this project. And we can also add to that if you're not excited, what you might be maybe most reluctant or not understanding at this point.
So some of the excitement for me is that, okay, so where it's being located is an area where there's a high lead content in houses. And so a lot of children in the area have lead poisoning. So green produce helps to alleviate the effects of lead poisoning. So it's a little exciting that we're bringing that greenery, which is something like we were doing with the garden across the street, trying to do that whole thing. But now it'll be done on a much bigger scale. And so then my other question would be, are you helping, would this project also help more people to start their own produce gardens in their backyards or on their patios, and so that more and more this just kind of spreads throughout the community?
It's going. I think that that'd be a fantastic idea, and we would need partners for that. So I hope that you would come along with us on that as well. But certainly, let's get that in the notes.
Yeah, because it's kind of like, okay, so if that's going to be there, what do we do with our produce garden? We're just moving inside and then maybe repurpose that area right there. Because we have 3 lots now, and so okay, what do we do with them? Maybe we just put up a bunch of so one of the things that I'm also interested in is fruit trees. So is there, because so many children have never had the opportunity to just pick, an apple or a pear from a tree and bite into it, and so we need more cherry trees, apple trees, everything, So is fruit trees a part of the plan as well?
The question isn't, is it? The question is, let's do it.
Yes,
So,
yes.
yeah.
You're right, because I was just about to say, no, this is what I'm recommending. All these things I'm talking about, these are recommendations. I want y'all to carry out. Since y'all taking the whole project, okay, yes, go for it. And live my dreams.
We need help. We need help.
Yeah, we ain't going nowhere. We ain't going nowhere. We live right there. So we are there. Yes, absolutely. And we have, because we have a whole lot of, we have children's gardening tools, so that when the children start, we can equip them all with their own little gardening tools. you know, and their size and all of that, little trowels, little shovels, little, you know, little knee pads and everything. So we have everything that we have. We want to incorporate it into the project.
Ms. Deborah, don't let me forget after this meeting to introduce you to Leslie, who's writing our grants.
Okay.
So that you can join us as a partner on those as well. And some of her questions have been programmatic related, and many other things that came up in our neighborhood meeting. I think Baye was there, my memory. But anyway, we're around youth engagement. And so that'll be a very important piece of the greenhouse, is how we engage youth, and also provide some work sort of soft skills and things like that.
Mm-hmm.
The thing that I gotta chime in with is, like, pear trees are great for climbing once they reach maturity. And
That's the last tree
like,
I was in.
I'm so sad that these kids don't know that grapes can grow in Indiana. There's so many like super cool things that can happen. And the kind of shared space concept, right? One of the things that what you're talking about, as you know, we developed the ability to have fruit trees and have fresh produce available off the tree, is that these become shared spaces where people frequent, and it brings in that restorative property back into play, right? Like, it's the type of thing that like Washington Street used to be, but with a different draw. So people used to know that if you come to this space, it's a space for you. What the fruit trees do is that they bring you back to that space again. It's just like, no, this is where we all go to, like, pick trees. This is where we all go to hang out. And like, it really kind of has that magnetic appeal because everyone feels like they have a place. And I love the fact that we're doing it in the green space that's inside of the King Center, because if you go down Linden Avenue on a Saturday in the summertime when the splash pad is going, and you see all of the cars and you see the barbecue grills and you see the families and everybody is all gathered in that green space, it's like we're just adding amenities to a thing that the community has already claimed as its own. And that is, you know, that and the pear trees, of course. I'm definitely climbing the pear tree. You're gonna see it live and direct. I'm gonna definitely go up the tree. But that's the part that is so inspiring to this project, is that, like, we're right there at that. But you know, I don't know how much you guys are gonna speak to it, Alkina, but there's so much more that is in action below the surface that people don't see, right? Like, we just got done doing a lot of work while also being informed by our community of what funding priorities should look like. But we just did a lot of work on the city cemetery, right? And the financial opportunities that are attached to that are going to be key. I don't want to, like, you know what I mean, ruin anybody's introduction or explanation of that. But like, we have some additional tools in the wheelhouse, not to mention some other folks who are interested in Linden Avenue as well. And so I want you guys to tell that story too.
Yeah. And just to kind of also speak to some of Deborah's questions, and like, we're doing this because we need partners. And when we looked at the kind of dispersed model, the question became, okay, how are these organizations going to keep up this greenhouse space? And a part of moving this forward is really understanding who are our friends in the community that can help move this along and sustain it. And so I'm wondering, for some of the folks here, how does this project fit into your organization mission and vision? That's open for anybody.
Ms. Deborah, if you don't tell them about that Peace Garden, I'm gonna ask you. I'll ask you directly.
Oh, well, you know, I was trying to give somebody else a chance, because I could dominate the whole entire conversation, and I do not want to do that. Okay, so I'm here after a couple of other folks have spoken, and then I can speak again.
Thank you.
What if nobody else is speaking?
I'm gonna start calling on people too. Let me see who's in the room.
You know what?
Mark Gould.
Yes, hi. Hello, everybody. I'm Mark Gould. I'm from First Source Bank, and I'm very interested in learning. I met Dominique at the Prosperity Indiana Conference, and she was speaking about this project, and I'm joining tonight to learn more about it. And I know there's a huge need with the food insecurity and such on the west side there in the Linden Avenue corridor. So I think this is would be a great initiative for our community development program. I guess I would I'm sure you'd be looking to the bank for some funding, trying to determine if it would be a good fit for our foundation, request for our foundation, and the application deadline for our foundation, I believe, is in April. And I can speak with whoever is leading the. Would it be Dominique that's leading the project?
Dominique, and I'd love to be a part of that conversation.
Okay, sure, Alkina. Yeah, maybe we could speak a little bit soon about that, and then I could introduce you to some folks at First Source and affiliated with the foundation and see if it might be a fit.
Absolutely. We'll make sure we get that going. Thanks,
Sure.
Mark.
Sure.
That's a big.
I'm excited about it because I know it's a huge need. I know Marilyn spoke with her a few years ago. Gosh, it's been a number of years ago about this need. Glad to see that this is moving along. So.
Many West Side neighborhoods have been fighting and asking for this for a while. We're excited to see that Mishawaka has some and other cities have some best practices that we can point to, but
right.
We definitely feels really good to be able to have a response. So we hope tonight it helps us really get to the outcome that folks like Marilyn and you too, Miss Deborah, can be happy with.
I'm just here tonight to learn more about the project, and I'm excited about it, and I'm interested to hear more feedback.
Wonderful. Here's just another broad question, and anyone feel free to jump in. Miss Cece, you being real quiet. That's this whole time I'm like Cynthia Taylor. Who is Cynthia Taylor? It's hiding.
Hello.
Hello.
I'm
Miss
listening
Cece.
in too. I just wanted to learn about it because, I just recently heard about it. So I'm listening. And I think, some of the questions that Miss Deborah had and is the same thing as far as, partnerships that are going to help sustain it. I think it definitely is a need because of the area it's going to be located in and, the children and families that we see every day. That kind of have to go a distance just to, acquire food or even healthy food at that. So that's why I think it's going to be a great benefit. And then even if the young people can help participate in, getting it up and running and maintaining it and learning how to grow fruit and, learn the different aspects of fruit. I mean, because we have kids at our center that surprisingly to me have never tasted peaches or never seen a pear or some it's just and for people that see that on a regular basis it's like nothing, but when you come across a child that has never experienced that or tasted that, it opens your eyes to some things. So yeah, I'm just excited to hear everything that's going to go into it.
I'm so glad that you're here tonight, Miss Cece. One of the things Mo tells the story in the staff at the King Center, the just heartbreaking stories of, kids that you just know are hungry. And so
yeah,
I'm happy that this too will be another way to fill that gap in need as well.
Thank you.
Miss Deborah, how do you guys share your garden with the community? Are there kind of just the normal flow of things. Besides, I'm sure it's probably a U-pick garden that you guys have on the southeast corner. Do you guys is it just kind of if the fruit is ripe, you're more than welcome to pick? Do we use some of the community members to sometimes share that fruit with one another or take it to different places?
I'm sorry, my lips was moving, but I was muted. So yes, it is a U-pick garden, and so we have like some seniors in the neighborhood who have volunteered to maintain it. And so every year it grows a little more. This year we had green beans, we had squash, we had tomatoes, we had greens, you know, and so and peppers, lots of. I'm a pepper fan. So anyway, yeah. So yes, it's welcome to the community, and so the lady next door provided the irrigation. So yep. So just a community project as well. And so we have actually 3 lots in that area. So we had a one on Bursa, we have 2 on Linden. And so the one directly across from where the greenhouse is proposed to be is where we planned the place of peace. And so it's just community has because the West Side has this reputation. And so part of us is trying to preserve some green spaces and also bring this whole notion of peace to the community. And so we're working, now we can go ahead, hopefully COVID will end soon, because just as we were about to get busy, you know, COVID happened. But anyway, yeah, so there's all these, this plan to create a place of peace, with murals, with benches, with flowers, and all of this. And it is going to be a place just to reflect and honor just this whole notion of peace. And so we had the produce garden, we had the place of peace, and then the other lot we were going to transfer into a griot park. And to bring back some of what you were talking about with West Washington, so West Washington held our history, the Black community's history. So all those years I lived in California, every time I come home, I go to the block. You could find anybody. Somebody there knew where they were, you know, and so it just held our stories, our history, our everything. And so the corner of O'Brien and Linden is a vacant lot. And so the whole notion there was to set it up and have a place for elders where children could go and hear the stories. So when we were children here, so we lived on the south side, and my grandmother lived on the lake, the far, far west side. Now, when we left here, I was 10 years old. So, and I have 3 younger brothers. So just imagine us. And so maybe I was 8, 7, 5, and 4. We're walking from the south side to my grandmother's house, you know, and so there was no boogeyman back in those days. But right where the Croc Center is now, I had a cousin who lived at the end of that park. And so that was our halfway point where we checked in. He'd feed us lunch and he'd tell us truth. He didn't tell stories, he told truth. And so we'd hear a few truths and then we'd proceed on to our grandmother's house. You know, and so it's again, those memories of childhood, those things that fortified us, that sustained us, trying to bring that back. And so to have that griot park where the elders are, where we could take children, you know, and they could hear the stories, they could hear the history of this community. Because even as they were redoing like the triangle over at Notre Dame, and the first Black business in this community was dismantled. It's gone. There's not a marker, there's not a nothing, you know. And so somehow for us to still be able to be, and we are an oral people, just maintain those kinds of traditions. And so that's what the third lot is all about. Yep. And so to have set up some chessboards, a fire pit, and you know, so that they could teach children these board games, whether it's bid whist, whether it's spades, whether it's chess, checkers, or whatever. Have the elders to teach the children as they are telling them these stories of old.
Don't it feel good just ooh, ooh.
Good. And the funny story, I'm a planner, so I learned in my education to be pro sort of 1,000 homes in 1,000 days. Like this is good because blight elimination is good for property values. It increases all these things. But what you just said about the history and like what you lose from that is I think what I'm most excited about, being able to bring back like those stories to the community. Like our community needs that hope and that moment in the sun again, if you will. So I'm most excited about that. Can you all share with me some of the things that you're most excited about in this project, and also ways that you're excited about collaborating potentially with this project?
I'm never gonna be shy. Ever. I want to work with Mark's team even more. Right now, First Source is helping us out with financial coaching for the businesses that are coming to the business assistance suite. Luis Zapata specifically has responded to our request to assist folks with preparing for their first business lending experience. And as you make mention of that moment in the sun and how we collectively do that, I know that First Source, being a long-standing banking institution in this community, could be integral in that process. And just wanted you to, if you could, just tap in a little bit about some of the work that you guys are doing with small-scale businesses and the support that you guys are offering, because I probably couldn't do it justice, but when Luis kind of said, I'll respond and do our best to represent First Source and provide these business owners with support, not only your online tools, but, like I said, again, that individual, and also making sure that folks of specific affinity groups are a part of this conversation. The Latino community, specifically in the building trade space, is bustling. I just saw Reliable Roofing take on their second property. Or not their second like rehab property, but their actual second office space. So that lets me know that they're growing and expanding and doing incredible things. And I'm sure that if it isn't First Source, it's one of our local financial institutions that's making that possible. So I just, if you've got the opportunity to kind of share a little bit about that, that'd be great.
Oh, sure. Thank you for the opportunity, Antonius. It's really a pleasure great to hear that you're partnering with Luis Zapata on financial education, financial wellness. So I know Luis is highly respected in the community, and I've always heard rave reviews from his clients and such. So that's great to hear. But I know over the years, we've been involved with the Spark program through St. Mary's, helping women entrepreneurs and such get started. So I know we've been very involved with that initiative with Willow there at St. Mary's. So we're really happy to be engaged with that. I know our small business lenders have been assisting, as well as Luis Zapata, on the education component. So we've been very supportive of small businesses with the SBA programs that we have, especially now during COVID with the Paycheck Protection Program. And we would really like to, right now, as you may or may not know, another round of PPP lending is available. And one of our huge initiatives right now, we really want to engage or reach minority and women-owned businesses with that program. So if you're not familiar with it, it's a 1% interest loan that actually can be forgiven to be a grant. So I would encourage businesses to take advantage, small businesses to take advantage of that in the community as well. So
does that also, that level of kind of intentionality out of First Source, is that extending into the because well, specifically inside of the Linden Avenue corridor, I believe that's one of the redlined areas from back in the day. So is that also a component of what you guys are working on, and kind of just trying to make sure that there's some opportunity for folks to kind of have their day in the sun and really kind of create their field of dreams?
Well,
I know that was a little rosy for financial.
No, no. We would definitely like to. In fact, I've been encouraging our SBA lender to. When we helped with the Kroc Center a few years ago with that development, we had a special loan program for minority-owned small businesses, contractors, to help with that project. Encouraging right before COVID, unfortunately before COVID, right before COVID in early 2020, it's really encouraging. We were looking to reopen that program and revitalize that program and have that available in the community, and then COVID hit and PPP and everything. So it's been kind of sidelined at this point, but I anticipate hopefully later this year or early next year having that program available for small minority-owned businesses to help. It's an initiative somewhat like the SBA product, but it's more targeted for those minority-owned, women-owned businesses. So
I think that program it supported contractors with kind of having liquidity while they were working on the Kroc actual field.
Correct.
You gotta flush that out, because that's integral, and you know, as new commercial endeavors pop up on that Linden Avenue, surely gonna need your help on this, I think. And having Luis there is gonna make it all the more real, because we'll have those folks in business assistance suite and really tapping in and connecting with the bank.
Definitely. Yeah, I would appreciate it. Unfortunately, with COVID, we're not able to meet in person, but I would love to have take a tour of the community, the West Side, to re-establish myself and understand the credit needs there. Maybe we can schedule something here in the near future. I don't know. That can't be conducted virtually, but hopefully.
You could always shout from one side of the street to the other.
Yeah, that's right. Yeah. Yeah.
No, we can figure that out. We
can figure out something.
We've got a couple of minutes left. One more question, and then we'll kind of go into a review before we jump back into the reconvene with the main group. But what benefits can you or your organization bring to this project? What do you think? This is open to everybody. Mark, you already answered that question. You got the bag, the money bag.
Okay.
I think listen, Mike Altenberger over there with the In Focus tag on the bottom, and I know for a fact that like him and the In Focus team are always concerned with like community improvement and giving back and being responsible. So like you guys are doing some things already, just helping out the E3 team, but is there going to be some more stuff too? Because last year you guys definitely showed up on the neighborhood cleanups. You guys were present and making your contribution now.
I think first of all, it's always great to be working with Antonius again, seriously. And now, you know, I feel like one of the old people on the team now. Anytime there's an opportunity for us to connect and volunteer opportunities, it's very easy for me to pass that along to the rest of the group, and it's almost guaranteed that at least a couple of people will show up for it. We tend to have people with environmental engineering degrees or different backgrounds like that, and so any kind of greenhouse project like this just works really well with them. And we have a pretty good amount of experience with working with different organizations and groups in the community across the Tri-County area where we work on these kind of projects. So I think this is a great opportunity. I'm personally really excited. When we went and visited the greenhouse in Mishawaka, they have a great thing going on there, and they've done a really great job of networking with local high schools to build off their kind of environmental programs and sustainability, just like random kids with green thumbs. And they've got like a whole kind of volunteer system in place. And that's got like a tilapia tank to provide the fertilizer and grow fish. I mean, they've got it, and high school students helped out with that. So I'm getting a little bit ahead of ourselves. We've got a lot of things to do in the meantime, but I think what I'm most excited about, and I think the way that In Focus could help, is not only facilitating those relationships with the high schools and trying to kind of build out programming that way, but just seeing like young people and this being a place for older and young people to connect as they work to take care of things. And like, I'm not as much of an expert in community engagement stuff as a lot of people on this call, but it's hard to sit around and say like talk to each other, but when everyone has something to work together on, it just flows like a lot easier. So I'm really excited about this, and I think that In Focus can connect and provide support in a lot of different ways.
That's gonna be great.
We've got 5 minutes. Miss Deborah, you got something to share with us?
So,
Can
you know,
share
so
your
we got
notes
our,
at the same time? I'm sorry, Heaven, if you can share your screen so we can see the notes, but keep talking, Miss Deborah.
oh, so I was just going to quickly say our senior gardeners, families who want to do gardens, the research that we did with young people about what they want to grow in their garden, and a friend with a horse farm so we can get all the fertilizer we need. And I got the pickup truck to tote it in.
Wonderful. We should be able to find a friend.
I'm definitely doing at least one day of shoveling and like helping. I promise you.
Oh yeah. We took the whole peer-to-peer group out there, and they learned how to care for horses, and that was one of the things. They shoveled a lot of manure.
I feel like that's how you get your stripes in this world.
Yeah, absolutely. And so it's been good for the garden over there too. So,
Miss Deborah,
yes.
since you've also been probably a part of this conversation the longest, would you like to be our participant that will share out to the group once we reconvene?
Oh, okay. These are the notes that I'm to be sharing out?
Yes, ma'am, and Heaven will share them back in the large group, but Heaven, if you want to just start at the beginning so we can all take a look and see if we're on the same page here. Probably got about, just a couple minutes.
Krista has dropped some comments in the chat too. So thank you for sharing, Krista.
Yeah.
Okay, yep. Thank you, Heaven.
So yeah, children in the area.
And I'm sorry I made this difficult for you because I didn't ask the questions in the order we gave them. I'm sorry, Ed, but you did a fantastic job. Putting this back together.
I'm so excited about fruit trees now, Miss Deborah. You don't even understand. Like in my mind, I keep thinking about, I grew up on Adams, really college. And so we had a pear tree in the backyard. Yeah, and actually next to the garage was a grapevine too. So we had fruit here in Indiana, and it's just like, man, y'all don't know that like the grapes are still sweet here. The pears are great. You know what I mean?
And maybe kicked out at any moment. It's just going to jump back into the main screen.
2 minutes, yeah. The biggest culture shock for me coming home was that all of those fruit trees, grapevines, cantaloupes, watermelon, they were all gone. They were just all gone.
In the 80s?
Yes. I found one pear tree on the southeast side. And that's why I was saying that was the last tree I was up in, because some kids had some sticks trying to get them down. So I had to go up in the tree and teach them how to shake it down so that the tree could stay safe.
You gotta even understand produce enough to understand when they ripe, when they not. You know what I mean? Tasting, not overindulging. Like it's so many different things that like connect you in a way that's different from when you just go grocery shopping with mom. Not that that's you know what I mean.
Is everybody okay with these if we miss something?
Oh, I just wanted to say that I was saying we have the gardening tools for the children. As I was looking over this list that you were talking